Hello everybody, welcome to the Football Philosophy channel. This is the build up to the Southampton game at Old Trafford. The team news should be out in 7 or 8 minutes right now as I speak. Just very quickly before I move on to the predicted lineups in some of the newspapers, I was asked a question on Twitter today by somebody about if Anthony Martial would make a decent number 10 for us. To which I answered, yes, I think Anthony Martial would make a good number 10. And there was a few people jumping on me saying, what about Bruno? I wasn't asked anything about Bruno. I wasn't asked anything whatsoever other than, would Anthony Martial make a good number 10? And I think he would make a good number 10. And tomorrow I'm going to do a special show, if you like. It'll probably just be 15 minutes. I'm going to discuss certain number 10s and how they play and the different styles of number 10s. And I'm going to discuss that sort of at more length tomorrow in probably a 15-minute show. I'll try and get that up tomorrow afternoon. Okay, Southampton are in town. Like I say, we'll have the team news very shortly. The Manchester Evening News, I've gone with...
Just hold a minute, we're having some issues here with the output. I'm just going to go there and come back again. Just sit tight a minute, wait for this to go live. Still with problems with that so far, this. Go on, mate. Go. You go.
You think we're working, yeah?
Yeah, go for it.
Apologies anybody who's been hanging on there. We did try and start once, but we seem to be having one or two technical issues. I hope everything's loud and clear right now. But I'll just carry on anyway, because the team news literally should be out in about 4 minutes now. The Manchester Evening News prediction: De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Bailey, Maguire, Shaw, Fred and Pogba, Bruno at 10 and Greenwood, Cavani and Rashford. The Independent, De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Bailey, Maguire and Shaw, so the same back four. Fred and Matic, say the Independent, with Bruno at 10 and Greenwood, Martial and Rashford again. Oh no, sorry, Pogba, they've got Pogba, Martial and Rashford. They've got Pogba wide on the right. The Evening Standard, De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof. They're the only ones that got Lindelof in the lineup. The Evening Standard, Maguire and Shaw. McTominay and Fred say the Evening Standard, so they're assuming McTominay's fit, I think. Bruno at 10, and then Pogba, Martial and Rashford. And then the Mirror, De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Bailey, Maguire and Shaw. Matic and Pogba with Bruno at 10 and Greenwood, Cavani and Rashford. Reading all those, I long for the days when you used to have to play well to retain your place, and if you played absolutely horrendously, you lost your place. And each of those four newspapers, the Manchester Evening News, the Independent, the Evening Standard and the Daily Mirror are all predicting that Marcus Rashford will be in the starting lineup. Anybody who saw the show, it only went up today actually, Marcus Rashford, the player in focus from the Arsenal game, he was particularly poor. I did the rating show from the Manchester Evening News, who gave him a 4. And when I actually studied his game, I agreed with the 4 at first. And when I studied his game directly, just watching him every movement of the game that you can, you've only got the same pictures to go off that everybody else has got. I decided he was lucky to get a 4. So if Marcus Rashford, I think it's safe to say that if Marcus keeps his place in the team tonight, it's got absolutely nothing to do whatsoever with how you're playing at the moment, or nothing whatsoever to do with form. because that was a poor one. But as I say, all of these papers, they've all got him in the team. Only 2 out of the 4 have got Martial at number 9, and 2 have got Cavani at number 9. It's a bit of a tricky one, that. I think Cavani, I'm not too sure they're happy with Cavani playing every game, but I think if Cavani's fit to play, if they don't think that they need to rest him, I think Cavani should play. I really do. I think United are stronger with Cavani at number 9 and Martial on the flank, and then probably, well, there's 2 or 3 players that could play on the wide right position. So what remains to be seen. I'll be surprised if Martial doesn't play tonight, to be honest. Like, a couple of these papers have got Greenwood in the team. Greenwood doesn't seem to be pulling up any trees when he plays either. So I think we're in a bit of a predicament with our attacking players, to be honest. I think a lot of people have got a downer on Anthony Martial, and when I watch the games, he's probably the best player. Virtually every time I watch them play, he's the one who gets it under control more and passes it more and links the play up better, keeps us in the final third better, and it just astonishes me that people see it so differently. So I would have thought Martial would play wide on the left and Cavani at number 9 and everybody else competing, and we might be finding out any second now. Is a team news there?
Yeah, Mr. Fister in the chat reckons that Greenwood's going to be in the starting lineup. Apparently confirming the starting lineup. I don't know where he's getting his information from, but
right. Well, nothing that specifically surprised you out of about probably 15 players that get fairly regular games. I wouldn't be surprised if Greenwood did start. He wouldn't be in my starting lineup, but like I say, it wouldn't surprise me if he did start.
Greenwood starting.
Is the team out?
Momentum. It's not.
Oh, it's gathering momentum.
It's out. Yeah.
Is he starting?
Yes, Greenwood starting. Yeah. Right. So he's Rashford.
Right.
De Gea, Lindelof and Maguire.
Yeah.
Wan-Bissaka and Shaw.
Yeah.
Fred.
Yeah.
McTominay.
Yeah.
Fernandes.
Yeah.
Rashford and Greenwood either side of Cavani.
Right, not surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I thought Cavani had played, but I'm astonished, absolutely astonished that Rashford's playing. Astonished, and Greenwood and Rashford flanking Cavani. Have you got the Southampton line up there? I think they've got quite a big injury list at the minute. Here we are. We're playing Southampton at home. I shouldn't be like this, but I'm hoping that they have got a big injury list to give us a good chance of beating them. Greenwood and Rashford on the flanks. Wow. Let's see if any of these newspapers got that bang on. I think they did.
Why is it Martial in that team, by the way? Is that still out based on his performance against?
I don't think any of them got it bang on. It's hard getting it bang on, isn't it? No, not one of them 4 newspapers got it bang on. Yeah, Martial. I thought Martial did.
So is Martial still out on the back of his performance against last midweek?
Sheffield United, I think.
So he's still out of the team.
Yeah, he started.
So apparently.
Oh, you just made me think there. By the way, that means obviously Pogba's getting a breather, isn't he, as well? Pogba's not in that lineup. He's been playing, hasn't he, nearly every game.
Yeah. McCarthy in goal. Ramsey, Bednarek, Stevens, Bertrand, Jankovic, Ward-Prowse, Armstrong, Gineppo, Adams and Ings.
I'm not absolutely au fait with all of their players. Can you pick a right back out of all that? I know they had trouble at right back, didn't they? Not up to speed with all that.
No, I'm not, to be honest. Bertrand playing at left back in it, so it's going to be
Stevens is a centre back in it. Did you say Stevens?
Stevens and Ramsey and Bednarek, is it a right? Right.
Bednarek could be centre back for sure, I would imagine. Right, okay. Anybody asking any next questions to come forward? Look, we need these points anyway. Whatever, I'm not happy with the team. I'm really, really not happy with it. I think it could be a major struggle again. Like I say, I think they have got a problem at right back. I think they've got a few people. Is Walcott in that team, by the way, for them?
No, he's not.
Right. Because he tracks back and helps on
Not
it right a lot.
available.
Right.
So they've got a few out. Obafemi, Smallbone, Teller, Walcott. Bertrand, someone you put Mr. Fister's put Bertrand will probably be at right back.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not.
Obviously, it can go either way. I know, and even if they're not at full strength, even if they're not at full strength, it can go either way. We've got four attackers on the field. Again, we've got another.
I'll tell you what, you're dead right. I think it's too many, especially when somebody pulled me on this the other day about us playing with too many forwards and saying, well, other teams play with so many forwards, but their forwards are just, first of all, they're just better players. And they do track back better. Liverpool's forwards, Salah and Mane. I mean, compare them to Greenwood and Rashford. It's like chalk and cheese. So it's one thing saying you can get away with so many forwards, but they've got to be better players. I think if you're playing with so many forwards.
Thomas Omar just put the third highest goal scorer in Europe, surrounded by that lot. I feel sorry for the lad.
Yeah, surrounded by that lot. I actually put a tweet out yesterday, I think it was, and people were going mad about it. I think it was because people were criticising Martial, and I said he had Greenwood on one flank and Rashford on the other. I said anytime Cavani starts with Greenwood on one flank and Rashford on the other, Cavani will struggle. I said Ronaldo or Lewandowski, however you pronounce it, would struggle with those two on the flank. So we'll see how that goes tonight. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I can't see it going that well. But like I say, Southampton have got some players missing. Sheffield United last week. This is something that jumps out to me, and we said it before the game, before the ball was kicked against Sheffield United. We said you shouldn't be making so many changes in the back four. I didn't know if Lindelof needed a rest, but because he did need a rest, the last thing he should have done was rested another player in the back four. Far too, 50% of your back four being changed is a joke. And that was Sheffield United. Now this week it's Southampton with loads of injuries. They might not be much better than Sheffield United. And he's gone with his full strength back four in this game, hasn't he? Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw. I'm sure, look, it could just be a coincidence, but I think it points at him learning a lesson. I really do.
JG in the chat. He's saying that Marshall doesn't track back either. And that Marshall has been dreadful this season.
Well,
I think this is people are blinded by the statistics, aren't they? It's such a. I said this in the show last week. It's such a superficial thing to judge your players on. You've got to put stats up or not. But at the moment, there's big question marks, even from the general, from the average football fan, that Bruno has gone off the boil. He's not gone off the boil. The underlying performance is the same as it always
exactly
has been.
The same. He played well at Arsenal. He played better at Arsenal than he'd been playing.
All that's disappeared is that the goals and assists don't seem
sometimes
to be
you
going
don't
for him
score.
But that isn't how you judge the player. That's
yes.
So the fact
fantastic point.
So the fact
anyone who's watching, it's a brilliant point.
So the fact that Marshall isn't scoring goals or getting assists, that's not a reflection of his underlying performance. The underlying performance is still one that looks after the ball, controls it well, times his passes well, appreciates the space and time that he's affording his teammate when he passes it to him.
Exactly.
Pass appreciation.
Yeah.
And JG's next point is that he doesn't track back either. And it may be that you put the track back statistics up wherever you get how much ground you cover, and it might be that it's equal to anybody who might compete with him for the left hand side of midfield, but his attributes themselves are more defensive.
Yeah.
The fact that he looks after the ball better, the fact that
he's better for us defensively.
He's better for us defensively. His attributes themselves suit us better from a defensive point of view, not just an offensive one.
And if I can point something else out on a similar thing, a lot of people misinterpret tracking back. I think they're watching for us chasing back. It's about your defensive nous being in the right position. And if you look, when they put up the average positions of the players when we played Liverpool, I know it's a game where you're under the cosh, but if we'd have had, say, Marcus Rashford wide on the left, it was Marshall wide on the left at Anfield, and his average position on the field was barely a yard or two in front of Luke Shaw. So it's not about chasing back, it's about being there when you're under pressure And a lot of people think you've got to make loads of tackles. I've said this time and time again. It isn't about that. It's about forcing them backwards, forcing them across the field, covering the avenues where they want to pass it to, so you can play well. And you can go for minutes and minutes and minutes without touching the ball, but using your brain and being in a good position to stop them from not creating opportunities. Obviously creating opportunities, but creating opportunities to make opportunities. Being in the right position to stop them giving it to the fullback who's trying to do the overlap. And Martial's performance defensively at Anfield was top draw. People won't realise that he played well that game because it was 0-0 and he didn't make a goal, score a goal, or probably even have a decent shot in the game. But it wasn't really what that game was all about. It was about, it's no coincidence. Yeah, think about this. Anybody who wants to say, who's just said about him not tracking back?
JG it was.
JG. Think of this. When Martial and Rashford are both in the lineup, virtually without exception, it's Martial at number 9 and it's Rashford on the left wing. Virtually without exception. Why do you think at Anfield Rashford played at number 9 and Martial played on the left wing? Because I know a lot of people might say, oh, we wanted to try and exploit Rashford's pace. The positivity will be about what we were trying to do with Rashford. Trust me, it was not the main reason. The main reason Martial played on the left wing at Anfield and Rashford played at number 9 because the manager knew that Martial's positional sense and defensive nous is better than Rashford's. It was a game, well, it's obvious how we set up. It's obvious then we got the 0-0 draw. I always say this, we didn't go for a 0-0 draw. We was hoping to score as well, and we should have scored. But if we wanted to keep it tight, and the manager definitely would have been happy to take 0-0 at half time. If you'd have offered it him, he probably would have took 0-0 after 70 minutes. So that setup was a defensive setup, and that was why Martial played on the left wing, and Rashford played at number 9. That's all you need to know. Take that and think about it.
Tormund, just reiterating that point, team shape cuts off the passing lanes, but then also makes a great analogy. The importance of simple passing in football is as important as a good jab in boxing. I like that analogy. When you look at kind of, no, I don't want to get into boxing. We're talking football there, but Mayweather's been the most successful boxer that you've seen in recent history, and it's all about doing. It's utterly professional performances. The connoisseur appreciate. I'm not no connoisseur with boxing, but the boxing connoisseurs appreciate what he achieves by being so utterly professional in his approach. It's not something that the fans are going to like. There's not big knockout punches, anything like that. It's just doing the right things time and time again. And that's what passing's about in football. It's just doing the right thing, being in the right shape, don't take unnecessary risks, be consistent, be concise, be accurate. And I think it's a great analogy. I really do. I couldn't agree more.
I would agree with it if I understood boxing. I take it what you're talking about, but I'm not really banging to boxing myself. I'm going to assume it means he tires his opponents out and keeps them away from him and avoids their punches. And eventually tires them out, does he? Something like that.
I'm no boxing connoisseur either, but his technique is just absolutely flawless. He's just.
And that's what we need.
That's exactly what we need.
We need a flawless technique where we're passing the ball around, like City do, like Liverpool do. Liverpool are coming strong again, by the way. I'm gutted to say that, by the way. I take no pleasure in it whatsoever. But having watched them at Spurs last week, where they took them to the cleaners, and then I watched a bit of the West Ham game, they look like they're back on the roll, Liverpool. So I think we're going to do well to stay above them, let alone catch City.
Thomas Oman, Arsenal are starting to play well. They don't have many world-class footballers, but players like Smith Rowe look after the ball well and play simple.
He looks a player.
Don't he?
He looks a right player. I noticed they've just conceded an equaliser in the last minute of in injury time of the first half away at Wolves, and they've gone down to 10 men. So I think they're going to have to work out getting a win there. But they have turned the corner. They definitely turned the corner.
Rick, what I think you overlook is the importance of goals. This is here. I think you overlook the importance of goals. I know you liked LVG, but do you not think that the side has Bruno in it some of those 0-0s get converted into wins.
Zahir, I absolutely love goals. Like there's no tomorrow. I love goals, and I want my teams to pass the ball well and make opportunities, but make simple opportunities. I saw somebody on Twitter today, somebody who was sort of saying the way we play isn't conducive to making really good chances. The person who was writing it on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, said, when did we last score a tap-in where we had 2 or 3 passes that led to somebody squaring it across the goal, and it was a tap-in for someone. I mean, there might be one more recent than I actually imagined, but I can't remember one myself. And that's the sort of football I want to see us playing, scoring goals from inside the box, from tap-ins is fantastic, but even from good chances created from sort of around the penalty spot and closer in, with people getting fed in behind and balls across the box. And the idea of passing movements, like City do and like Liverpool do, is to get people into good positions to shoot rather than shots from difficult positions or difficult. You see the balls over the top. They're difficult for the player to deal with. The player who's going to end up with a chance, they're difficult to deal with. And I know they work occasionally, of course. If you play, I don't know, if you play 100 balls over the top in a given season, you probably will get, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 goals out of it. I believe that if those 100 long balls that you played, you'd have played a short pass every time and kept passing it short, then obviously there's no way of calculating this, but I just believe the percentages are better for you. And if you do pass it short, keep it simple and try and work proper openings, you'll score more goals. So more than the 4 or 5 that you would have got. You probably wouldn't even get 4 or 5 goals from 100 long passes. It's probably more like 2 or 3.
Craig Virgo, Ricky, are you worried about the Europa League? Could it cost us in the league?
No, I'm not worried about it. I think
not enough players are getting games in the league
yeah,
as it is.
Yeah, there's not enough players getting games. I'm desperate to see Van der Beek get a game. I'm desperate to see Juan Mata get a game. Even Anthony Martial's getting frozen out in a minute. Matic isn't playing enough. I'm not concerned about it. Bring it on. That's what I say. So I'm not. Dan James. You could pick. I mean, if you look at the lineup today, we've got McTominay and Fred. Pogba's not playing today, so let's just do it. That could be Pogba and Matic. We've got Bruno at number 10. That could be Van der Beek. We've got no Martial. Martial could be at 9. Juan Mata could be on the right, and Dan James could be on the left. So it could be Pogba and Matic compared to today's team. I know they're getting games interspersed. Of course they are. Some of these players, not all of them. But it could be, instead of McTominay and Fred, it could be Pogba and Matic. It could be Van der Beek at number 10. It could be Juan Mata wide on the right, Anthony Martial at number 9, and Dan James on the left. And I would say that midfield and front line is equally as good, if not better, than the midfield and front line that we're playing tonight. So what is there to worry about?
Yeah. If that would have been the lineup that had come out tonight, I'd be more optimistic about tonight's game.
I think it's better.
All possession.
Pogba, Matic, Van der Beek, Juan Mata, Anthony Martial, Dan James. I think those 6 players, if you couldn't, I wouldn't pick them all. I would not pick them all. I'd mix and match it. But instead of McTominay, Fred, Bruno, Greenwood, Cavani, and Rashford, if I had to take all 6, or I couldn't take any, hope you've got that. If I had to take all 6, but I can't take 2, 3, or 4, I would take Pogba and Matic, Van der Beek, Juan Mata, Anthony Martial, and Dan James.
Josh Harper's put this in a couple of times. Rick, remember when I said I can't handle us building a team around Bruno and Rashford? I remember him putting that in previously. I remember him saying that. And that was when we were top of the league. Unless we play better, we need to forget winning leagues.
Yeah. If Rashford doesn't have an absolute worldie, I might do another thread on him tomorrow. Where he played at Arsenal. Oh my God.
Mohammed, I seriously don't remember the last time we scored a tap-in from open play where we've worked our way through the team.
Yeah. I remember the great chance that we had where we worked our way through the team. Van der Beek to Juan Mata. And I was gutted that Juan Mata didn't score it. If he'd have scored it, they'd have been talking about it for ages. But it was a brilliant move, and Van der Beek, superb little touch off to Juan Mata.
Mr. Maunder, I would have started Martial ahead of Rashford. Do you agree?
100%, every day of the week.
Yeah. Lawrence Hughes, do you prefer 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1?
You probably, it's a good question that, Lawrence. I would say 4-4-1-1, but just being old-fashioned, old school, I'd call it 4-4-2. And if I was running a team, I would call it 4-4-2. But I would always have one of my strikers being somebody who I've got it'd be somebody who's natural to that game. And I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm going to do a little show about it. But I would always have one of my strikers working back, helping when we've not got the ball, and also being in a good position to receive from midfield players who might nick it. So always, really it's 4-4-1-1. But being old school, I call it 4-4-2.
That touches on an interesting point. You and I spoke about the other day about Bruno's how he's supposed to be playing that number 10 role. He's supposed to be,
Yeah. I'm going to do a full show about this tomorrow.
Yeah, so I was just going to say the 4-4-1-1, and he's supposed to be the one that's there, but he's constantly vacating his position.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be a kind of a pivot point for the play to build around, and all too often he's not there.
Yeah, I agree.
Rashford is in the wrong sport. He's an 100-metre sprinter, not a footballer.
Is he that fast? I'm not 100% convinced. I think there's a little bit of a myth about Rashford's pace. I did a clip about there was at least 2 occasions against Arsenal, and I see it every week, where there's oceans of space for him to knock the ball into. And if you think about people in the game who have been electrically fast, really, really fast, Andrei Kanchelskis, if you can remember him, if you're old enough, Thierry Henry, more modern, Gareth Bale when he was a bit young. He might still be as quick now, but he seems to be injury prone. But Gareth Bale, there's 3 off the top of my head: Thierry Henry, Andrei Kanchelskis, Gareth Bale. If they've got a defender in front of them and oceans of grass behind that defender, they'll knock that ball behind that defender, open the legs and go, and it doesn't matter if that defender has got a yard on him. They'll take that yard up in the first 10. They knock the ball 20 yards. They take that yard up in the first 10. And I see Marcus having opportunities to do that twice at Arsenal the other day. And every time he plays, watch for it tonight, you'll see situations where he's one-on-one with a defender and he doesn't knock it into the space behind that defender and chase it. I don't know why he doesn't do it, whether he's lacking in confidence or whether he's lacking in confidence in his own pace. Or, I'm not saying he's slow, by the way. You don't need to come on there saying, what an idiot him is saying he's slow. I'm not saying he's slow. But all Premier League footballers are quite quick, bar none. They're all quite quick, quicker than the average man in the street or the average Sunday League player. So they're all quite quick. It's just that some are extraordinarily quick and some are a little bit slower than others. But the extraordinarily quick ones, Gareth Bale I would name, Thierry Henry as I've named, Kanchelskis as I've just named, the lad at Wolves now, Traore.
2 of you mentioned, Gaz Elliott has just put, and Mr. Fister have both put, Dan James.
Dan James. He likes to knock the ball into space and chase it. So he's got confidence in his own pace. So watch this game tonight. While you're watching this game tonight, watch out for Marcus having the opportunity, because he is playing on the wing, to knock the ball into the space and chase it. And I'll be surprised if you see it happen once. And if he does do it, by the way, he doesn't normally leave the players for dead like the really quick players did.
Yeah.
Like Gareth Bale did. I remember a goal Gareth Bale scored for Real Madrid where he knocked it one side of a player. Do you remember it? He had to run off the pitch and still beat him to it easy.
He just got the afterburners
got afterburners on, exactly. Yeah. Proper genuine pace.
Yeah.
Genuine pace.
Yeah, show him a clean set of eels.
Exactly. We've got about 5 minutes to go.
Yeah. That's where James excels, does it, and knocks the balls into the box. That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
Casimo, he put okay, then he's a 400-metre Olympic runner, not a footballer.
Yeah, 400 metres perhaps, yeah.
And then there's a few, let's finish on this, there's a few people asking, and obviously we are trying to wrap it up.
Yeah. What
would your first choice 11 be?
My first choice 11, the difficulty, look, we have done alright, we are where we are, it's going well, and I've been asked this question, but I'm going to name it, I will name it in a minute. The problem with football is that you've not got a crystal ball, and it's easy in hindsight. So this is going to sound daft. I can't think of a good way of putting it over. If I was to pick my very best team that I think the best team is that we can field, Ollie's done so well with the players that he's got to get us to this position. I don't think we would actually be in this position. We've won that many games. I wouldn't change it in the past, but I do think we're now on a little bit of a downward spiral. I don't think it's going quite as well as it should be. And if I'd have been in charge right from the start and picking my team, we might not even have this many points that we've got now. But I do believe that we've been overachieving. I believe we've been overachieving. So I'm not too sure that if you could have picked my team in the past, we would have this many points. But I do believe that now we're just starting to lose it a little bit. And I do think we could pick a better team going forward. And no disrespects meant to the players that I wouldn't pick, but I like me players to get hold of that ball, keep it on the floor, pass it around, move it quickly between each other. I love players who do that, and you know that. And I would go with David De Gea. One more thing before I would love to see this for 2 or 3 games. It's no good for one game. No good for one game. Anything can happen in a game. It's no good for one game. It'd have to be 2, 3, 4 games and give it a chance to get going and give it a chance for the players to gel. But I'd definitely go with his favourite back four. I do think he's our best back four, which is playing tonight. So De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw. I do believe that's our best back four. My favourite 2 central midfield players, I've said it dozens of times. I like the bigger, stronger players. I like Matic for his calmness and keeps it cool. I think we do play better when Matic plays, and I also like McTominay. Great engine on him, but so's Fred got a great engine on him. But McTominay's bigger, stronger, gets a few goals. Fred can't score a goal to save his life. He'll probably bag tonight now, but generally Fred can't score a goal to save his life. And and before you say it, I know I always say it doesn't matter who scores, but you have got to have some players in your team who can score. So I would go McTominay and Matic in midfield. I would like to see Van der Beek get a run out at number 10. And I would probably go Cavani at number 9 at the minute, with Martial on the left, and either Juan Mata or Dan James on the right. That's what I'd go with. Somebody asked me today if Martial can play number 10. That's what I said I'm going to do. Look, there's a few little permutations in that front four, and most of the players that I'd pick in the front four, well, not most of them, a lot of them are not getting games. I wouldn't mind seeing Martial get a game at number 10.
Mata one side, James
Mata at one side and James the other, but that'd leave Van der Beek out still. You know what I mean?
Oh, sorry, did you not put Van der Beek in that?
Well, I did, but I had him at number 10. So if you're going to put Martial there, if you're going to put Martial there, it puts Van der Beek out again. But I also wouldn't mind seeing. Look, you could chop it and change it. I also wouldn't mind seeing Martial at number 9.
Yeah.
And Cavani getting a rest, and Van der Beek at number 10.
Yeah.
With Mata and James. Those 5 players interchanging, getting games, some of them at number 10 and some of them on the wings. The only one out of all 5, straight off the top of my head, that would only play in one position would be Cavani. I think all the others can play different. Maybe Van der Beek at 10 as well.
Yeah,
but those 5 players for those 4 positions, I'd love to see him try that for a few weeks. It's not going to happen. Bruno and Rashford are flavour of the month, aren't they? And that's that. But we're not scoring goals. I mean, I don't know. We're not scoring goals. I looked at this yesterday. I think we've scored 13 goals in our last 10 games, 1.3 a game. But look, you can say it's a coincidence, and you can say that the subs came on, and subs like Bruno come on and scored a free kick. But it's great when you got subs who can come on and do something. But we've scored 13 goals in our last 10 games. We scored 3 against Liverpool, and the 3 against Liverpool came with a team that's not like our normal regular first team. Our best performance, goal scoring wise, in our last 10 games is a game that Van der Beek played in. It might be a coincidence. It might be, but let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get 3 tonight. We've got 3 against Liverpool. I mean, look at our games since then. Just thinking about it, we beat Liverpool in the Cup 3-2 with Van der Beek playing at number 10. What have we done since then? Lost at home to Sheffield United 2-1. Drew 0-0 at Arsenal. So we've scored 1 goal in 2 games since. We better get 3 tonight, or else I'm kicking off.
Tom and Rick, against the poor teams, would you consider playing a midfield 3 of Matic, Pogba and Van der Beek, and then a front 3 of Martial, Cavani and Mata?
Wouldn't mind that at all, Tom, but it wouldn't work out like that. It's the same players. It's the same players, but I wouldn't mind at all, because it could be Pogba and Matic in the middle, with Van der Beek at number 10, Cavani at number 9. That's what he said, didn't he?
Yeah, really. There, all he's really done is taken McTominay out and put Pogba in.
Yeah, that's all you've done. So forget the formation, because your wide players have still got to track back Torman. So I've got no problem with that whatsoever. I'd be quite happy with it. But that's the only.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Bite your hand off for it.
Yeah.
There you go. One last question before we go. From Raelia Salic. Why do you think Ollie rates Rashford so much and trusts him? I viewed the video today and agree with many of your points. What do you think are the reasons behind Ollie's decisions?
It's too difficult to grasp. He's obviously the only thing I can think of, because
is it just football? Is it just
no?
Football
No, I don't think it. Well, it sort of is, because it's a football club, and I think look, Rashford's what's he worth on the transfer market? What you know? I
don't think there's any chance of us selling him anyway. So
I know to think.
I don't think there is.
I think the bidding would start at 100 million quid, don't you, if they were selling him? I mean, if I was a manager of another club, I won't give you 10 million quid for him.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
He just wouldn't be in the market to buy a player like that.
I won't want him. No, he loses
any money.
No, exactly.
Any money.
But he is worth absolute millions, and a lot of it is to do with his celebrity status. That's it. And you can't watch. You can't not just that game, but numerous games recently. You can't watch those games and think that footballer's an £100 million footballer. But whatever, I don't get it. So yeah, what are the reasons is we can only guess at. But look, there is this. This has got to be a possibility. He probably is an £100 million asset. How would they field questions about him being left out of the team, left, right, and centre? Yeah. And what would it do to his value? So I don't know if that's got something to do with it.
One last one on the same topic. Jason Victor. Ricky, you often say the catchphrase, goals change games. Do you think Ollie loves Bruno and Rashford so much because they have goals in them more than others do?
He probably thinks they do.
You'd like to think that the manager of Manchester United has got the ability to look beneath that veneer, don't you? That the ability to to assess his players, the underlying qualities, as we've said before, rather than just the
goals do change games. We've scored 13 goals in our last 10 games, 1.3 a game. I believe if you picked the team that I'd like him to pick, who look after the ball better, would have scored at least 2 a game in the last 10 games, which would be 20 goals. Yeah. But obviously, I've got no guarantees, but I just think we'd be better. Yeah. Should we leave it at that?
Yeah, leave it at that. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Please tell all your friends. Let's get more watching next time. And
one more. Someone's just put a super challenge before we go. We didn't spot this. Phil Mann had put, do you really think McTominay is better than Pogba?
Do I really think he is? In some respects, he's better than Pogba. In some respects, his energy up and down, his speed up and down the field. Not so much energy. Pogba works hard and gets back.
They play different positions, don't they? Yeah, you can't really compare. You couldn't. I know this is an extreme.
Do I really think he's better? It is a great question. I think McTominay's a more aggressive. I mean, let's look at one or two things that you think might be better. Is he more aggressive? I think he's more aggressive. Does he get up and down the pitch quicker? I think he gets up and down the pitch quicker. He's actually scoring just about as many goals as Pogba scores. And I know you need some goals from your midfield. They might not be as worldy style goals as Pogba gets. But I think they've both got about 4 each. I'm not worried about one. If there's one difference, big deal. Not one way or the other, by the way. If McTominay's got one more, I'm not interested. If Pogba's got one more, I'm not interested. They've got roughly the same amount of goals each this season.
He definitely appears to be working harder. I don't want to just label that Pogba.
Do I think he's better than Pogba? It's a great question. I'd have to. I do think he's a more determined player. That's a difficult one to say. That he's more aggressive. He's more aggressive, and I like a little bit of aggression in midfield. And I think it maybe come back in the comments yourselves and tell. Put it this way as well. A lot of people say that we need Fred in the team because of his effort and his determination, and yet also people call McTominay what's the phrase they use? passion merchant. So there you go, he's a passion merchant. So I'll leave it at that. What's his name? Who asked the question? Sorry.
It was Phil, man.
Phil. I like to have a passion merchant in my team, even though it's a criticism that he gets. He gets criticised for being a passion merchant, and I think I like a little bit of passion. Shall we leave it at that?
Let's leave it at that.
Thanks a lot, everybody. If you've enjoyed it, please tell all your friends. If you didn't enjoy that, don't tell anyone. Keep stum.